Welcome to New Light Living Podcast. I'm Ulrika Sullivan. I'm an intuitive spiritual life coach and a galactic astrologer. This video is a galactic astrology reading of the Aries full moon at 14 degrees and 8 minutes on October 6th, 2025. Welcome. What I do in these videos, I put an outer layer of fixed stars, celestial bodies, and galactic points to the traditional Western tropical astrology wheel. And that is to help us connect with our multidimensional self, allowing us to see the bigger picture of our soul journey and also connect with our far away soul family and soul family here on Earth that we can co-create with. And I hope this galactic astrology reading of the transits of the Aries full moon is inspiring you to go deeper with your own astrology chart in this way. What you'll receive in this video are 3 energetic themes that I've pulled out from the full moon chart. And also at the end, 3 questions, should you want to integrate this Aries full moon energy some more. The Aries full moon at 14 degrees of Aries is conjunct the Andromeda constellation and the fixed star Alperatz at 14 degrees of Aries as well. So it's an exact conjunction. And the full moon is building a very interesting grand cross that we're diving into in energetic theme 1 coming up. The ruler of this full moon is Mars, and Mars is now at 10 degrees of Scorpio, conjunct the fixed star Acrux at 12 degrees of Scorpio. Acrux is known for being part of navigation, and especially at night. So I interpret the role of Mars here is that it's an invitation to us to trust our direction forward, even if we cannot see it clearly yet. This full moon in Aries has a very strong purpose and a powerful purpose because we are at this full moon getting highlighted all the things that we do and engage in that takes us away from our truth. Distractions, habits, things that we engage in and taking time managing. And many times it takes its expression through overvaluing material things or material outcomes. So think about what you're valuing in the material world that is actually distracting you from your soul purpose. This full moon in Aries is putting it right in our face, the things that divert us from our soul's purpose that we have attached to very strongly, because our direction forward does not necessarily need those distractions anymore. And so what are those things for you? Because this Aries full moon will shine the light on the opportunity and the courage that it takes to dive into deeper self-mastery and perseverance to allow that soul truth to shine through you. This Aries full moon is an opportunity to go to the next level and tap into the future frequencies. I've titled this video, The Frequency of the Future, and that is what it is, because the focus is not Aries full moon on the actual release, because you probably already know what it is that you're in the process of releasing in terms of, for example, habits and patterns and things that are just not aligning with your energy anymore. The real focus of this Aries full moon is the next steps, the future frequencies that are higher and higher vibrating, the future frequencies that we are tapping into, coming into the next couple of months, and particularly in January 2026, which we're going to get a shower, I call it a shower of Aquarian energy. So we are preparing and releasing still, but the focus is now starting to turn towards the future energies and the higher frequencies that we now are getting access to. The higher frequencies come with signatures like freedom and joy and harmony and balance, while we have been transmuting lifetimes of lower frequencies. And this Aries full moon is highlighting what may be remaining, but you likely, as I said earlier, you likely know what it is that you're releasing and putting away the last pieces of at this Aries full moon. And all of this, the Aries full moon is encouraging us to have perseverance because it is a long process that we're tying up the knots from. And it requires the courage to put down the last pieces of it now at this Aries full moon in particular, to be able to open up the door for the frequencies of the future. And Mars, as the ruler of this full moon, is also helping us with that navigation to help us take action on a direction forward that we may not 100% know and see yet, but is helping us to navigate through something that we are not necessarily seeing as of yet. I also want to mention that we have talked a lot about this minor grand trine with Uranus conjunct the Pleiades, Saturn and Neptune conjunct Pegasus-Scheat, and Pluto conjunct Aquila Altair for a while. This minor grand trine is still in effect. And what is noted here at this Aries full moon is that all of the outer planets are in retrograde at this Aries full moon. So that means that it's still a inner journey that we're dealing with that is supporting us to permanently transform our interior landscape, if you will, but also the collective landscape energetically. So this all retrograde motion is going to end with Pluto going direct on October 13th, a few days after this full moon. And Saturn will go direct on November 27th. Neptune will go direct on December 10th. And then lastly, we'll have Uranus going direct, and that is in February 2026. So this is also contributing to the focus on ourselves here with the full moon in Aries conjunct Andromeda-Alpheratz, which is representing very much the futuristic energies. The inner journey is highlighted here at this Aries full moon. Are you curious about your own galactic alignments? Download my Galactic Alignments reference guide. There is a link in the pinned comment and description box below. Before we go into the full moon chart, I'd like to share what the energetic themes are. The first theme is frequency of the future. And here we're going to talk about the full moon and that grand cross with Corvus, Algorab, Lyra, Vega, and Canis Major, Sirius A. The second theme is multidimensional messages. And here we're going to talk about the Yod with Mercury there at 0 degree of Libra now, conjunct the Shapley Attractor, and the messages coming through there. The third theme is activating new spiritual technology. And here we have a grand trine with Procyon, Alpha Centauri, conjunct asteroid Atlantis, and also Saturn in Pisces. All right, are you ready to dive into the full moon chart next? All right, let's go. And as you can see, the full moon there, conjunct Andromeda-Alpheratz at 14 degrees of Aries in opposition with the sun here at 14 degrees of Libra. And also the ruler of this full moon, Mars, at 10 degrees of Scorpio, conjunct Acrux there at 12 degrees of Scorpio. So this is set up for this Aries full moon. So here we have the minor grand trine that is in effect all the way to December 5th. And I wanted to highlight that currently at this Aries full moon, all of the planets here are in retrograde. And with all planets, I mean Sedna conjunct, Edna conjunct, Uranus here conjunct Pleiades, and also Neptune is in retrograde conjunct Pegasus-Scheat there. And also Pluto is in retrograde conjunct Aquila Altair. So that's what we're talking about. So I wanted to highlight Andromeda-Alpheratz a little bit more before we dive into the galactic energetic themes. Andromeda-Alpheratz is going to play an important role in 2026 astrology, and Andromeda-Alpheratz is part of the Great Square here, and also Pegasus-Scheat that is conjunct Neptune here at this full moon as well is part of this Great Square. Andromeda-Alpheratz is part of the Andromeda constellation. Andromeda-Alpheratz is associated with a deep connection with frequency, and particularly music and harmonies as far as frequency goes. It's also been said that Andromeda-Alpheratz is associated with other life forms and including plasma beings. So the highlight on Andromeda-Alpheratz at this full moon is really bringing us into that futuristic energy and giving us guidance on what's to come. But Andromeda-Alpheratz is so interesting. So we're getting guidance here from Andromeda-Alpheratz to start to expand, to embrace our multidimensional self, because our soul is vast. And also Andromeda-Alpheratz is encouraging us to bring in other perspectives that may stretch us a little bit in terms of how we can communicate with others and other beings even. I really am curious about Andromeda-Alpheratz, and we will continue to talk about Andromeda-Alpheratz as we move into 2026. And the ruler Mars here is conjunct Crux, a Crux. And also, this is a very interesting star that has to do with navigation. Many ancient civilizations have used Crux, a Crux, to help navigate forward on this big seas, for example, very linked into water and navigation and direction. So Mars's conjunction with a Crux here is a little bit of a hint for the future and what to focus on. So I thought this would be interesting to highlight a little extra. All right, let's dive into the first energetic theme, frequency of the future, next. So here we have the first energetic theme that I've called frequency of the future. And here again, highlighted is the full moon there that we just talked about. But also the fact that this full moon is highlighting a grand cross with two other major fixed stars, Sirius A there at 14 degrees of Cancer, in opposition with Lyra Vega in Capricorn there at 15 degrees. And this builds a powerful grand cross. So let's dive into this grand cross a little bit more. And we talked about the full moon there at 14 degrees of Aries conjunct Andromeda-Alpheratz. And it's a strong connection to frequency and music. And if we look in opposition there to the moon, we have the sun at 14 degrees of Libra, conjunct Corvus Algorab at 13 degrees of Libra. And the sun is shining a light on Algorab here. And Algorab has a energy to it in association with messaging, but it's also associated with energy around courage and transmuting lower energies. So this opposition here is really important in terms of the message that we are invited to release the last pieces here of lower energies through the messages that are coming through the sun conjunct Algorab there, in opposition to and taking on the opportunity to move into the frequencies of the future here, the moon conjunct Alperatz. That's a balancing that we're invited to work with, as all full moons are really invitations for additional balance to release what we're not supported by anymore, but also to step into something new, an end and a beginning. Every full moon has that energy about it. And at this particular full moon, we also have the connection with Canis Major, Sirius A there at 14 degrees of Cancer. And Sirius A is particularly associated with wisdom keeping, allowing healing, particularly from a physical perspective. So this is also an invitation to release some of the physical energy that may hold us back or have been pent up through our journey so far. So Sirius A is encouraging us and helping us to transmute, turn all the experience that we have so far on our soul's journey into wisdom. And in opposition to Sirius A is Lyra Vega at 15 degrees of Capricorn. And Lyra Vega is a very feminine Venusian type of energy that has to do with wisdom keeping as well, but from a more divination or psychic ability type of wisdom. So that opposition between Sirius A, which is more masculine oriented in terms of the actual wisdom that comes through, Sirius A is more action oriented, more related to Mercurian energy as far as, for example, communication, while Lyra Vega is more associated with psychic communication. So taken all together, these components of this Grand Cross here is inviting us to not only put down the last bits and pieces of things and situations and people that are not serving us anymore, but it's also helping us to walk towards that threshold of futuristic energy. And Sirius and Vega are helping us to tap into and balance masculine, feminine energy when it comes to communication, whether it's in communication through a more of a physical, like a voice, or if it's more psychic communications. A Grand Cross involves 4 squares, right? But it's also a very harmonic energy. It's balanced, but it's inviting us to expand and inviting us to go beyond our comfort zone, like every Grand Cross does. And the components of it are very interesting because it's including both the futuristic energy, but also to tap into our inner wisdom and transmutation of lower energies and spiritual wisdom. So I find this Grand Cross and the influence through this Grand Cross at the Aries full moon very encouraging. And ultimately, we're opening the door to the Aquarian energy starting in beginning of January 2026 that we're going to talk more about in the 2026 Galactic Astrology program that I'm working on recording. But it's interesting to see that we are in the preparation stages for, we're welcoming more of that connection with the Aquarian age energy. So here we have on the sky map, Lyra Vega and Sirius A here. And I wanted to show also and you're well familiar likely with both of these. Both constellations are very included in human galactic heritage history. Most everyone of us have galactic alignments to either Sirius or Vega or Orion also in this chart here. And here again, the Alperatz that I highlighted previously, but also Corvus Algorab here, very close to the Virgo constellation. So yes, it's interesting that this full moon is giving us a taste of futuristic energy, but at the same time, it's helping us and supporting us, inviting us to release and prepare us for the Aquarian age energy that is coming early 2026. So we'll talk much more about that there as well as we go. But it's interesting to see that this Aries full moon is highlighting this dynamic of harmonic energy between connecting to our galactic heritage and the wisdom that comes from that at the soul level, but also tapping into futuristic energy through Andromeda-Alpheratz and receiving messages, what those lower frequencies may be that we have still a few pieces to just put down and transmute. This Aries full moon is like a big shining light on this transition, the in-between that we're in. And this is part of the journey. This is part of what we're meant to go through to allow a door to open to the Aquarian age early next year. All right, let's move into the second energetic theme that I've called multidimensional messages next. So here we have the second theme that I've called multidimensional messages. And it's based in the Yod that we have been talking about quite a lot between Uranus, Sedna, and Pleiades, and then Neptune conjunct Pegasus-Scheat there. And now at this Aries full moon, Mercury is at 0 degree of Scorpio here and conjunct Haumea at 2 degrees of Scorpio, conjunct the Shapley Attractor. So you may be familiar with this Yod, and now it's Mercury's turn to be highlighted. And Mercury, as we know, is a messenger, and the 0 degree point here is a message of a new beginning of some sort. This is very interesting, and we are going to dive deeper with these messages as part of the members only video that I've called Messages of Unity. And if you're curious about our membership, go to the link in the pinned comment and description box below. And as I mentioned earlier, this Yod now, in terms of Uranus and Sedna in retrograde and Neptune in retrograde as well, is also speaking to that there are inner messages here that will come through around this time, around October 6th. So I have created a journey, an experience as part of the members only video associated with this Aries full moon so that you can experience and perhaps receive your own personal messages that are encouraged now through this Yod, which is really a inner experience that is possible here with Mercury at 0 degree of Scorpio conjunct Haumea, conjunct the Shapley Attractor at 2 degrees of Scorpio. So I wanted to highlight also the period of time that this powerful Yod is going to be activated. And if you recall, we had Mars there at 0 degree of Scorpio in and around that solar eclipse, the Virgo solar eclipse weekend. And then we will have the sun passing this 0 degree of Scorpio on October 22nd in and around the new moon in Libra. And then we will have Venus coming to 0 degree of Scorpio in and around November 6th, around the full moon in Taurus. So between now, around October 6th to November 6th, we have a powerful activation of this guiding Yod. And during this period of time, Uranus, Sedna, and Neptune will still be in retrograde. So it's a powerful time to go within here to receive messages of unity, because Haumea has a significant influence here, conjunct Shapley Attractor, to encourage us to listen to the big picture, the unified, the integrated messages that we are having access to at this time. The way I interpret Yods most of the time is that they're very directional. You see that peak pointing all the way to Mercury at 0 degree there, right at this Aries full moon. And Pleiades conjunct Sedna and Uranus in retrograde is really that inner co-creation of futuristic energy. And Sedna represents very much this higher frequency communication. So it's an inner journey, basically, of co-creation with the universe that is encouraged at this time. And similarly, Neptune in retrograde conjunct Pegasus-Scheat is how we can liberate ourselves through our spiritual body and connection to oneness, universal wisdom, and the bigger perspective, and our multidimensional self. So yes, this Yod energy is going to encourage us to receive those inner messages. And if you're curious about your own inner messages around this time, I'm creating a personalized journey, an experience, a guided experience that you can perhaps receive your own messages as encouraged here by this Yod energy. And here I wanted to highlight Shapley Attractor at 2 degrees of Scorpio and Haumea at 2 degrees of Scorpio as well, being the guidance for our messages at this time. And Shapley Attractor is a vast driver, the biggest driver that we know of universal wisdom to date. And Haumea, of course, with all her integrated beauty between all the elements, the sky, the earth, the water, and the body, and highlighting the body's wisdom and how we're using it to open up to our own inner wisdom and the universal wisdom flowing through us. So this is such a beautiful Yod that is in place long term here, but at this full moon in Aries, it really is highlighted by Mercury's positioned there at 0 degree of Scorpio. So yes, this is a beautiful energy to tap into at this Aries full moon, to truly receive personalized messages, because we are in that retrograde outer planet period of time until October 13th, when Pluto goes direct. And it's all supported now, that inner journey, that last bit of things that we need to come to clarity on, and maybe allowing them to be released or shifting perspective on something. And as I mentioned, you probably already know what this is. So there may not be any completely new things that are coming up at this Aries full moon, but that's really not the point. It's almost like we're walking up to that door, that symbolic door of a new frequency, the Aquarian age, if we use that term, a type of energy. And yes, this Aries full moon is really highlighting, and we are tapping into those messages here in and around October 6th to October 22nd. All right, let's move on to the third energetic theme that I've called activating new spiritual technology next. So here we have the third energetic theme that I called activating new spiritual technology. And here I've highlighted a grand water trine involving Saturn there at 27 degrees of Pisces, and Canis Minor-Procyon at 26 degrees of Cancer, and also asteroid Atlantis at 27 degrees of Scorpio, conjunct Alpha Centauri. And here as you can see here, Jupiter is at 23 degrees of Cancer, not yet in conjunction with Canis Minor-Procyon, but Jupiter will. And this grand water trine will be further enhanced or expanded once Jupiter hits that conjunction exact with Procyon. But this grand water trine will be expanded, elevated, and highlighted in and around October 15th, because Jupiter stations retrograde conjunct Procyon at 26 degrees of Cancer on October 15th. It's really connecting the dots here at the Aries full moon already. And this grand water trine is involving our desire for evolving, especially integrating spiritual technology. And Canis Minor-Procyon is a huge factor in evolving. Canis Minor-Procyon energy is associating with that evolutionary type of energy. So let's break down this grand water trine some more. We have Saturn there in retrograde at 27 degrees of Pisces, and Saturn is really on a journey to go back and retrieve some of the things that we may not have picked up the first time around, that retrograde action and really a cleanup stage. Saturn is focusing on helping us to connect with wisdom that we came here to bring out and use the way it's appropriate for in our modern times. And Saturn is asking us, okay, what do you need to do to not distract yourself from what you truly are here to do or share? So Saturn is going in retrograde here to kind of ask us those questions again. And in trine here with Canis Minor-Procyon is really to help us open up to those things that we are meant to invent and doing in a different way, the versatility that each of us are bringing and putting together things in new ways. That's what I mean with spiritual technology sometimes, that we can use our combined genius to bring new things to the table in a new combined way. And Canis Minor-Procyon is an evolutionary type of energy. We also have that powerful trine from Saturn in Pisces to asteroid Atlantis at 27 degrees of Scorpio, conjunct Alpha Centauri at 29 degrees of Scorpio. So asteroid Atlantis has been popping up in our videos a couple of times this year, and this is one of them because asteroid Atlantis is now at the very last degrees of Scorpio, helping us to dig deep in our soul's wisdom and experience so that we can help bring up that ancient wisdom. And many of us have had incarnations, soul incarnations in Atlantis. And now is the time to bring that into use, so to say. That grand water trine is very intuitive. It's very flowing, and we're meant to use that wisdom in a new way that's appropriate for the modern times that we're living in. So yeah, this is a very futuristic energy that is almost like a swirl that is encouraged by Saturn's retrograde here, and really asking us, okay, how can you clear your distractions and habits that are not serving you in favor of your wisdom that you came here with, and your clarity around how to bring it out. And often it brings also connection to our multidimensional self, our past lives, if we call them that, and connections to ancient civilizations such as Atlantis. And in and around October 15th here, when Jupiter stations retrograde and conjunct Procyon, that will be a significant highlight. So here we have Canis Minor-Procyon here highlighted on the sky map, also in proximity to the Orion constellation, and Sirius there at the very bottom. I also included an image of Procyon as a star with its very high frequency blue ray light, and so that we can allow that beautiful connection to run through us and activate us to awaken that ancient wisdom within ourselves. And here we have Centaurus constellation and Alpha Centauri at 29 degrees of Scorpio on the sky map. And notice how close in proximity also Alpha Centauri is to a crux there, that Mars, the ruler of this full moon, is connected to and in conjunction with. And Alpha Centauri in conjunction with asteroid Atlantis, helping us to remember those lifetime soul incarnations associated with Atlantis here on Earth. So we are activating within ourselves what we call new spiritual technology, but in reality, it's not that new. It's a remembrance of experiences and wisdom that we have harbored within our soul and DNA since many thousands years ago. To top this off, we also will have Venus enter Libra on October 13th. And on October 15th, she will activate this kite that we have talked about quite a lot, Venus conjunct supergalactic center, and this minor grand trine lifting off here. This is a very important activation for this grand water trine. And this will be in and around when Pluto goes direct on October 13th. So in and around October 13th to October 15th is going to be super powered energy to pay attention to. So yes, we're with one step into the future and one step still releasing energy that we need to be as clear and pure in terms of our energy so that we can allow universal wisdom to flow through us and messages to come through that are clear to support us for the future energy to come. Haumea's presence conjunct Mercury at 0 degree of Scorpio at this Aries full moon. Are you curious about your own galactic alignments? Download my Galactic Alignments reference guide. There's a link in the pinned comment and description box below. As I mentioned earlier, I'm working on recording the 2026 Galactic Astrology program, and I'm so excited. And the program will be available sometime in October. I have not decided on the launch date yet, but I will keep you updated. So next, if you want to integrate this Aries full moon some more, I have some questions for you. Your perspective of what's possible at this time. And here I refer to that grand cross with Andromeda-Alpheratz, Vega, Sirius, and Algorab. because we are now in a very transmutational, futuristic energy all at the same time. So my question also is, what houses does this grand cross fall in your chart? This may be also giving you a little bit of a guidance on what areas of your lives are involved in this balancing and this threshold at this time. The second question is, of course, what messages are coming through for you around this Aries full moon? And this may be something that you already know, and it may be a truth that you now are ready to acknowledge and accept. You may have known this for a while because we're working with that minor grand trine of the outer planets, Pleiades, Pegasus, and Altair. And so this is likely what's coming through in terms of messages are likely not new for you, but it's becoming stronger and clearer now. The third question is, how are you connecting deeper with your talents and gifts and putting them to use now? Because this connection to asteroid Atlantis and this water grand trine is going to encourage us to go deeper intuitively, psychically with our abilities. And also, what are you integrating? Because Haumea is strongly supporting us. So Haumea is that unity consciousness, that this is strongly linked into Haumea conjunct Shapley Attractor conjunction here to allow that integration and go deeper with how we are actually going to put that in use, our talents and gifts. And Haumea is guiding us to not stress out about it because our body already knows if we just listen to it. Encouraged to sit with that unity consciousness energy supported by Haumea's presence here at this Aries full moon. So this Aries full moon, I sense, is this powerful transmutation, the in-between, the old, the past, and the new and the future. But it's necessary. We are getting clarity on what we are stepping into, but also that we are allowing ourselves to clear out the past even a little further. It's almost like the past and the future are bringing us to the present moment right here and now, where we can sense this harmony, this oneness, and a connection to our multidimensional self in one being integrated with our body's wisdom. So it's a beautiful time. It's a beautiful time to be here. And I'm so grateful that you're here listening, watching to New Light Living podcast. I'm Ulrika Sullivan. I'm an intuitive spiritual life coach and a galactic astrologer. Visit me on ulrikasullivan.com, and I can't wait to be back with another video for you. Bye.